You can start whenever you'd like.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Say good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. So today, I'd like to discuss a 360 evaluation with you all. Management evaluates you annually. As you heard earlier today, we are all required to receive IDPs at some point. It should be annual. But throughout your career, haven't you wondered why management isn't evaluated as well? I certainly have. I would like to show you the importance of a 360 evaluation system. You know, management evaluating you, and you having an opportunity to evaluate management. By the end of this presentation, I hope each of you are encouraged to hold management more accountable, as it will improve the department's overall leadership. During my 7-year tenure with the department, I've had many discussions with managers on all levels, including the director and deputy director, as I've sought fair and impartial treatment for everyone. First I'd like to inform you of some common concerns associated with management not receiving a 360 evaluation from rank and file workers like us. Without a 360 evaluation system, there tends to be a lack of regard for career development, for everyone that is. Employees lacking career development are more likely to leave their job assignments. No one wants to work for a management team that doesn't take an interest in their development and/or doesn't help them deepen their skills and learn new ones. Furthermore, there are more opportunities for favoritism within the workplace. Favoritism occurs when management displays preferential treatment towards those workers who they are socially connected with, to the detriment of others, to other workers, and overall organizational performance. It is the most demotivating factor that many have experienced. It's very important to not allow leaders to treat an individual or a group of people superior than others. Ponder on this quote. And this quote is by Robert Whipple. Leaders who practice favoritism in the workplace have no chance to build a culture of trust. Let's now look at some of the remedies to the aforementioned concerns. With the 360 evaluation system, there tends to be an increased concern for career development. Did you know 90% of learning and development takes place not in formal training programs, but rather on the job through new challenges and developmental assignments, developmental feedback, conversations, and mentoring. Thus, employees' direct managers are often their most important developers. Career development can also help with retention, because employees can develop a sense of loyalty for employers who are willing to invest in them. Furthermore, there is an increased inclusivity for all workers. Organizational leaders play an important role in setting the tone for inclusiveness of all staff. Open, effective communication, as well as clear channels for feedback, optimizes the opportunity for discussion of issues related to inclusion. Inclusion is a call to action within the workplace. That means involving every employee's ideas, knowledge, perspectives, approaches, and styles to maximize business success. Now, this concludes the brief overview of concerns and remedies as it pertains to rank and file workers completing a 360 evaluation of their management team. In closing, I trust you understand the importance of a 360 evaluation. Remember, this is our opportunity to give leaders an accurate and helpful feedback in a constructive and confidential manner, if you so choose. By incorporating a 360 evaluation, the department would in turn increase the accountability of their leaders, promote career development, improve working relationships, and enhance performance. Now remember this quote: coaching and mentoring shouldn't be reserved for employees alone. Given the difficult dual role managers play, they must be coached and mentored as much as anyone. Now that quote's by an anonymous subject, but very important nonetheless. Now, today is your opportunity to evaluate your respective leaders. So turn the page and begin evaluating. In the meantime, feel free to ask me any questions and provide any thoughts that you may have on the subject matter. Thank you for your time. Any questions, any thoughts?
So who would review these evaluations?
I'm sorry.
Who would review evaluations for the managers?
It would be their managers. You know, everyone has someone to report to, including the director.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know how the structure of the government is set up, of course, the governor himself appoints the director, and then there's also legislative branches of government that the governor has to answer to. So, in other words, everyone has someone to answer to. So, with that being said, it's really important that we have some oversight so that everyone's incorporated in the umbrella. And of course, there's many things that EDD has in place that are excellent tools. However, we know a lot of times there's what should be done or what could be done versus what actually is done. Which everyone has a personal experience with that. So, does that answer your question, man?
Is there a specific reason why there is currently no evaluation process for ranking managers in or supervisors in any governmental agency?
Well, as far as government agencies, state agencies actually do have such an evaluation system. So, as far as how the state is run and why, as a department, ED doesn't have one, I'm not really sure. But that's why it's important for us as individuals, us as rank and file workers, to have unity, to impose such ideas so that we can impact and enforce change.
Sort of similar to that vein, have you thought about the process of how we would get this implemented?
Yes. For one, we can all petitions. We can start by interest levels. Who's interested in doing such a thing? What you're looking at here, this is a mock-up of what a sample evaluation would be like. So who would? I'm sorry. You got a second part to your question?
No, just how we would get it implemented.
Okay. So just meeting with management, also a petition. Seeing names on the petition. Someone spearheading it, I certainly would. Individuals just making certain that this is what they're interested in doing. Just by a show of hand, is there anyone that would be interested in doing such a thing? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to mention to you, you probably are already aware of this, but accountability is one of the core values of the department, and your idea is definitely in alignment with EDD as a whole. Also, our branch does run, and specifically our group at TSD runs the Tax Branch Management Institute, I think it's called, and that's where they get managers together once a month, and they give them classes and training in how to be better at what they do. And that seems to me like it would be an appropriate forum for bringing up that idea. They recently, as a group, the managers decided, and the people running the Tax Branch Management Institute decided, well, we want new employees to have an added module at the new employee orientation about something like tacit knowledge, some abstract concept, but that seems like it's what they intend that group to do, to sit around and think of ideas that will better the management in our branch specifically. So I'll definitely take this back and mention it to our manager. I'm not sure how interested she'll be in the idea of getting evaluated, but maybe she thinks it's a good idea, and I'll mention it to the people that run that group.
Okay, I'll take Rex and then come right back to you, Maria.
We spoke about it yesterday, how collections has a wellness survey where we get to voice our opinions and evaluate our crew and our management. Does audit happen like that? And if they don't, then how come that hasn't been implemented?
Not at all, and that would be frankly because the leaders haven't implemented such a thing. I would actually wonder, I'm curious as to know who put that in play for collections, because apparently that individual had to be on the management level, and they felt that it was important. So you all have a voice to exercise within collections. And quick question, is that collections in every office, or is that just? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think that there is a lot of fear, in the audit area. People are unwilling to participate, unwilling to speak up, hiding behind, I hope somebody else does it, or answering questions such as, oh, so what's happening? But, when points like this are brought up and said, hey, you guys wanna participate, nobody responds.
That's absolutely correct. And being that you work as a union steward yourself, I'm certain that you're aware of you yourself have tried to enact reform.
It's almost like
And
up into the wall, and so it gets full.
Right.
I just wish that people would become more, vocal, but to have more integrity, because this is about integrity.
Right, and accountability, right.
If you see something being done wrong, say something. Don't just sit there like nothing is happening. And
People
because-
people don't do that.
And it's, I think somebody brought it up, something about, you just look at life passing by and that's sinful to me. It's like, if you see something wrong, you see somebody getting stabbed and you're just gonna sit there and go, I don't wanna get involved. That's
Compare apples.
Right. So again, to the 360, to speak to that, I would say, again, it can be either optional to identify yourself, or it can be completely anonymous. And one of the means, if you were to read the first paragraph of the introduction to the evaluation itself, one way would be of just averaging the anonymous evaluations. And then for those that want to specifically identify certain instances or what have you, then they can, take a platform to, present themselves and say, and then that would, so if you have fear, there's an avenue for that, but you still get to have your input. And then if you don't have any fear, like myself, you can just put yourself on the forefront.
But the problem is with that is that then you get labeled blackballed.
That's correct.
And that's not fair to one person that was gutsy enough to say something.
That's correct.
So there has to be some type of protection that people know, hey, I can speak up and be protected. That being not taken into consideration for promotions, or, just kept, I'm not even gonna take this person's opinion in account because, they stepped on my toes, and so I think that we should give the same weight, even if it's anonymous, because I'm sure the collections might be anonymous.
Our wellness survey is anonymous.
And that's
So
best.
that's helpful.
Because people put their real ideas and they're not afraid of putting themselves out there. Oh my God, what's gonna happen to me?
But no,
Right.
I tell you because I've done it, and I got,
Right.
I
Right.
got reprimanded, I got written up, because I was speaking up about something.
but I think even on that, with the collections and the wellness service, even though they are anonymous, a lot of people won't speak up, even though there's issues. And I think that's one of the biggest issues, is that they sit there and wait for others to say it for them instead of speaking out as to what the actual problem is. So I think either way, it's up to the individual to make it happen.
Right. Well, I'll just say this, for individuals in this room, I have a ton of resources of ways to protect yourself. So does Maria, being that she was a union steward herself. There's a ton of things. If you're ever fearful of such things, it's understandable. However, each one has a responsibility to take personal inventory. You have an accountability, for one, to do right by yourself, and then also by the overall department. We're all in it for the same goal. But as I mentioned, it would enhance overall performance, relationships, etc. So with that being said, we have to each look within ourselves and decide if we're going to speak up or not. One thing we can look to, I mean, there's several different, there's women's rights movements, there's the civil rights. I mean, if no one ever spoke up, change would have never happened. So we can't accept the culture as is. You have to have the confidence, you have to have the courage, you know, to speak up, and you have to understand that, yeah, it does come with some risk potentially. However, if you're in the union, which we all are, even by default,
Regardless.
you're not going to just lose your job. Yeah, there's some other fearful tactics, but again, as we move forward, if we were to move forward with this, as time goes on, the culture will change. You will have a management that's more mindful that they're being evaluated as well, and they would more than likely, you know, not perform or not act in the manners that they have in past time. Anything that we would consider adverse, like some of the examples that I gave in the presentation. Obviously, there's more than that, but this is a 5-minute presentation. So with that being said, any more questions? Any more dialogue? No? Okay. Well, again, thank you guys for your time.